Okay. So yes, this is the second class in this series about the relationship with our spiritual teacher. And this is this is an amazing topic, and it's an evolving learning how to do this, how to navigate this relationship. Yeah, and we have to give ourselves space. Yeah, sometimes we're going to make mistakes in this relationship, but we will learn, and we will grow as a result of this relationship. And so with this class, we're going to touch upon just some things for us to think about, to contemplate and reflect on, that are going to help us figure out how we relate to these amazing beings. Yeah. Mm, yeah. So anyway, that's our agenda for tonight and the next few Mondays. So let's start, right? And so we're gonna start with um, quietly observing our breath. Yeah, we're gonna do that for a few minutes. So let's just make sure that we have a good posture, that we're comfortable, but not too comfortable. We don't want to fall asleep or get drowsy. Yes. And so important thing is to have our back straight, right? We're not leaning on a chair or on a couch. We're somehow grounded on the floor, whether we're on a cushion or we have our feet touching the ground, and so we got that support of the earth. Yeah. And so we're gonna start just observing our breath for a few moments. We're gonna just let the busy mind settle down. When thoughts come up, just let them go. Do not engage with them. Do not follow them. Let your mind become quiet and clear and calm. And think of any thoughts or sensations that might come, or feelings that might come, just as passing clouds. Passing clouds without engaging with them. Okay. So let's do that for a few moments. So now we're going to shift a little bit, and we are going to move to set up our motivation. Yeah. Because as we know, it is our motivation that determines what kinds of actions we're engaging in, right? So positive motivation, yeah, help us engage in virtue, and it has as a result happiness, joy, right? Whereas if our motivation is not so good, then we get the opposite. Yeah, we get suffering. So let's develop a positive and altruistic motivation for engaging in this activity tonight. And think that you are taking this time right now to listen to this talk about relating to the spiritual teacher. Yeah. Because not only you're interested in learning more about the Buddha's teaching, yeah, you're not only interested about benefiting yourself or improving your life and your mind, but beyond that, going beyond that, you are interested in benefiting all others, all beings. Yeah, and this is your genuine, sincere aspiration. So let's take a moment to sort of determine, clarify that motivation in our mind. So with that motivation now, let's visualize Shakyamuni Buddha in the space in front. Yeah, he symbolizes all the objects of refuge, the three jewels. Okay? And he's also inseparable from our gurus, our teachers, our spiritual guides. Yeah. And when we visualize the Buddha, yeah, of course, we want to get all the details right, and the colors, the proportions. But the most important thing, actually, is to feel the presence. Yeah, to feel that we're in the presence of an extraordinary being, and to feel that heart-to-heart connection. And then we also connect with all sentient beings everywhere by visualizing them around us. Yeah, we can start by visualizing our mom and our dad, around us, our mom on the left, our dad on the right, our relatives and friends close by, and then all others in human form, extending all throughout the universe. And they're here too. And so we connect with them. And having established those two connections with the holy being and all sentient beings, then we can take refuge and generate bodhicitta. Okay, so let's do that. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. And may all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. Let's take a moment to really realize that these are really our wishes, that we are wishing this for all beings without exception. Those that we like, those that we don't like, those who make us happy, and those who give us problems. Okay, so having taken care of those very important preliminaries, I want to read to you of the opening verse of one of the, I think, most beautiful prayers. I really, really love this prayer. And it's the foundation of all good qualities. You're probably familiar with it. But I like it because it really helps me frame my relationship to my teachers, my spiritual mentors. Okay. And it says, the foundation of all good qualities is the kind and venerable Guru. Yeah? Perfect devotion to him, correct devotion to him or her is the root of the path. Yeah? By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him or her with great respect. Yeah. And so this really reminds me of a couple of things. Yeah. The first one is that whatever good qualities I hope to develop on the path to awakening come from my teacher. Yeah. My teacher is the one who is going to show me how to develop those qualities. Not only is my teacher going to tell me and teach me how to develop those qualities, but the teacher is also going to be an example of those qualities so that I can see and relate and actually be inspired by that example. Yeah. And the other thing that it reminds me of, which I touched upon when I first started speaking, is that it takes effort. Yeah, it takes effort, and so we may, we may stumble sometimes. Yeah, and it's something that we have to work at. It doesn't come naturally. Yeah, so we have to read about it. We have to listen to teachings about it. We have to reflect on it and meditate on it. And then, with all of that effort, we will make some gains in that area, right? But we have to do all of that. It doesn't happen automatically, unfortunately, as much as, we would like. Yeah. So, and every effort that we make towards that, wow, it's the best way to use our energy, our energies, and to use our time best way. Yeah? And why? Why is that? Right? So I'm going to just briefly remind us something that we um, heard last time, and had to do with the advantages of properly relying on a spiritual teacher, right? So, what are those advantages? And you see, the more that we can review those benefits, those advantages, the more clearly we're going to understand why this relationship is so important, right? More inspire, and we're going to be also encouraging ourselves to go ahead and do it, right? It will clarify for us what we're doing and why. Huh? So when we properly rely on our teachers, our spiritual teachers, that pleases the Buddhas, because the Buddhas, they know that our spiritual teachers are the conduit of the teachings. And so when we rely properly, we are, opening our hearts and minds to receive the Buddha's teachings, and we are going to be practicing them. So that makes the Buddhas happy. Yeah. Finding and properly relying on a teacher in this life plants the seed for finding teachers in future lives. So we're not going to be separated, right, from them. We're going to maintain those very strong connections through future lives. We will quickly, well, relatively speaking, quickly generate realizations. Realizations of the path. Yeah. And we'll be protected because we will not be disturbed by interfering forces or bad influences. Yeah. And because our spiritual teachers are sort of like emissaries or representatives of the Buddha, and the Buddhas rejoice when we respect our teachers, because it's the same thing as if we were honoring the Buddhas. Yeah, it's the same thing. The teachers are inseparable from the Buddhas, and they teach everything the Buddhas would teach if they were here in flesh and blood, right? So there is that very intimate connection between our gurus and the Buddhas, right? So lastly, we will be protected from negative influences that seek to separate us from the path and from our teachers. All kinds of obstacles. I don't know if you've noticed this in your practice, but as soon as we start practicing virtue, as soon as we start practicing the Dharma, all these obstacles arise. Inner obstacles, outer obstacles. The path is sort of like a long stream of obstacles. And, there are two things that really help us overcome these obstacles. One of those things is our relationship with our guru. The other thing is compassion. Yeah. Compassion for all sentient beings. These are the two most important things that will help us overcome hindrances on our path, inner and outer. Okay. So now, the scriptures also talk about the disadvantages of not properly relying on a spiritual mentor, right? So, for example, we will not generate good qualities. We will not generate new good qualities, and the ones that we have will deteriorate because there's nobody watering those good qualities. There's nobody encouraging them. Yeah, there's nobody offering us advice on how to maintain them and grow them. Right? Yeah, we will not be able to find teachers in future lives. Yeah, we could even end up in the lower realms because there's nobody to explain to us about karma, about negative and positive karma, and how to purify. Nobody would tell us how to purify. So then all these negative karmas that we've created, we don't know how to purify them, and then they will ripen in a possibly very unfortunate rebirth, right? So our teachers protect us from those kinds of really unfortunate rebirth. And when we practice their teachings, we generate a lot of merit. Yeah? And the merit that we generate sort of like fuels our practice, fuels our understanding, fuels our realizations. Yeah? So this is the great protective effect of this relationship. On one hand, we can purify, and on the other hand, we're generating a lot of merit. But without a guru, we cannot have that. So that's a disadvantage of not properly relying on a spiritual mentor, right? We will not be able to generate the path in our mind. And we will not be able to abandon those things that we need to abandon or cultivate the things that we need to cultivate because we wouldn't know. We won't have anybody to tell us what those are. Yeah. So, and especially when we get to the higher levels of practice, when we get into the tantric vehicle, then it's absolutely a must to have proper relationship with a guru. Yeah. So, because they are the ones who are going to be imparting the required empowerments, the required tantric precepts. Yeah, they're going to tell us how to practice at that higher level. Yeah, and when we're practicing at that higher level, we still need the sutra path, the fundamental path as our base. So at every level of the path, we need that relationship. So in order to guide us in practicing proper reliance on the guru, the Buddha taught 4 reliances. Okay, the Buddha taught 4 reliances. So what are those? Okay, the Buddha said, rely on the message of the teacher, not on his or her personality. Yeah. So if we don't pay attention to this particular advice, yeah, it's very easy to be led astray by someone who's very charismatic, but whose teachings are a bit shaky, a bit questionable. Yeah. So there are people out there, and this is a quite a risk, because there are people out there who pretend to be teaching Buddhism, but are in reality teaching something else. And when we are beginners, we really don't know. When we are beginners, we really don't know where to go for reliable teachings. So this is definitely a danger out there that we have to be aware of. So also, sometimes the teacher is very qualified, yes, but his or her personality may be a bit odd. Maybe his or her personality is a little bit off-putting. Or he or she may have external characteristics, that we don't like for whatever reason, that we cannot relate to, and that may just push us aside from a perfectly qualified spiritual guide. So we have to look beyond appearances, and we have to evaluate very clearly. Am I being turned off because of some external superficial thing, or am I really detecting that this person is not teaching the proper dharma? So I'm going to give you an example that Venerable Chodron, one of my teachers, used to give about this. And when she was in her early years of her ordained life, she was in Dharamsala. She was living in Dharamsala. And she tells us about this amazing teacher who apparently spent a lot of time up on a cave on the hills around Dharamsala meditating. And apparently once in a while, you would see him also out and about in town. And he apparently was very disheveled. Tattered robes, dirty robes, looking very haggard. Looking at him, you wouldn't know that he was such a respected and realized teacher just from the outside appearance. Yet he was a very respected being. But if you would have just judged it by the appearance, you would just walk away. It's like there's nobody. So we have to check our mind and be very observant as to what's happening in our mind. Then the next reliance is rely on the meaning, not just the words, right? For example, the teacher may be teaching about renunciation, yes? And because we did not understand the meaning of the teaching, the meaning of the words, we walked away from that teaching thinking that we needed to practice extreme asceticism, that we needed to just give up everything in our life, throw in the towel and go live in the boonies somewhere, right? We didn't ask questions. We didn't bother to sort of investigate, okay, what does renunciation really mean, right? Because renunciation does not mean to just give up on life and go starve somewhere, right? That's not what renunciation means. So we rely on the meaning, not just the words, right? And then not only rely on the meaning, but rely on the real meaning, not the provisional meaning, right? And so one of the things to consider here is that all the teachings of the Buddha, every single thing that the Buddha taught was an advice for practicing. Everything he said was advice on how to practice. So when our teachers are teaching, everything that they say, we take that as an advice on how we need to practice. That's part of that meaning, right? But also, according to Prasangika, who is the highest philosophical school, right? The definite meaning of the Buddha's teachings, the definite teachings are those that are related to emptiness, to the ultimate truth. Whereas provisional meaning, provisional teachings are those that are related to conventional truth. So when we are listening to teachings, we can listen to them with this distinction in mind. Yeah, the teacher may be conveying a conventional, talking about conventional phenomena, but behind that teaching, right, there is a teaching on the definite teaching is to do with the ultimate nature of reality. And lastly, rely on your wisdom mind, not on your ordinary mind. Yeah. So with our ordinary mind, we tend to pick faults. Yeah. We tend to criticize. Yeah. We tend to blame and compare. And we do this, regarding our teachers too. We criticize, we pick faults, we compare them to other teachers. Yeah. So when we notice that we're doing that, we really need to stop ourselves. Yeah. We need to abandon looking at our teachers with an ordinary mind and instead focus on looking at their good qualities, at their kindness, at their compassion, because it is out of kindness and compassion that they're teaching us. They could be somewhere else doing meditation. Yeah. They could be somewhere else really, trying to get those, expand those higher realizations. But they've chosen to be teaching us out of compassion. And so that's what we need to focus on. And look at their good qualities. Yeah. So it is said that it is important to first connect with the wisdom of the Buddha's teaching. Now we're going to first connect with the teaching, and we're going to try to bring that teaching into our hearts. And then as a result of that connection with the Buddha's teachings, then we will discover, we will connect, we will meet with a living representative of those teachings. Yeah? A spiritual teacher who can guide us. Yeah. So it's like we don't just from out of the blue say, I need a teacher. I gotta go find a teacher. Yeah. No, we try to do some inner work. We try to say, is this the path that I want to follow, and for what reasons? And then based on that inner work, based on that conviction that this is the path that I want to follow, yeah, we will begin to sort of those connections with the teachers of past lives will begin to mature, will begin to manifest. And that's how we will then connect with these lamas, gurus. Okay. So in the book, The Foundation of Buddhist Practice, yeah, and I highly recommend this book. It has a very nice section on how to relate to a spiritual teacher. Very good section. And of course, this is written by His Holiness and Venerable Children. So, and they have a whole series of them called the Library of Wisdom and Compassion. And it's an excellent series. Highly recommend that. Okay. So in this particular volume of the Library of Wisdom and Compassion, titled The Foundation of Buddhist Practice, His Holiness mentions that we can cultivate trust in our teachers by observing their good qualities and the role that they play in our lives. Yeah. So by reflecting on our teachers' qualities, their ethical conduct, yeah, their ethics, their kindness, how they relate to other students, how they relate to their own teachers, yeah, their meditative abilities, their ability to express the teachings clearly, to help us connect with that wisdom, and so on. Their generosity, their effort, their joyous effort. Yeah. So then we will begin to have a positive view of them. Yeah. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to share a story about what happened to me. Now, this person that it happened to is not a teacher, so granted, but the mechanism, the process is the same, very much the same. Because you see, sometimes we feel intimidated. At least that was my experience. When I first started to meet these high lamas, like Lama Sopa Rinpoche, for example, I was so intimidated. It's like, what do I do? I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to communicate. It's like, wow. I was like totally like a fish out of water. Yeah. So we need to sort of find a way to get over that feeling of being intimidated or sort of sort of paralyzed by this amazing presence, yeah, of our teachers. But this example did not happen with a teacher. Yeah, it happened with someone I was intimidated by, although it was not a teacher. Yeah, it was another nun. It was a nun that was more senior than I was, so a senior nun, and I was very intimidated by her. Yeah, and so intimidated that I was really allowed myself to develop fear of this person. Yeah, and I did not trust her. Yeah, I did not trust her, and I tried to avoid her. I tried so many dysfunctional ways to deal with her, but she was living with me in the monastery, so I had no way to avoid her. I couldn't just, hide. I couldn't hide, so I had to work with her. Yeah, and what really helped me to trust her and to get over this was to focus on her good qualities. So I set myself the task of noticing every single act of kindness that she performed, no matter how small. Yeah, every day. That's all I did for a while. Yeah, and every time a thought that might convey fear, yeah, or dread, I would just push away and I bring up some example of kindness. Yeah. And after a while, my relationship with this nun completely changed to the point that we were able to share an office together. Because we were offering service too at the monastery. We had to offer service, and that was part of that. We needed offices to perform our different responsibilities. And so, yeah, I ended up being able to share an office with her and actually had a great time. Enjoyed her company. Yeah. So when His Holiness says, in order to build trust in somebody, focus on their kindness, that is right on. According to my very, small experience, but very significant experience. Yeah. So when we do that, our trust and our inspiration will increase. Yeah. And we will be more receptive to their teachings. Yeah. And so what we're trying to do is not to develop blind faith. Blind faith does not work. Yeah. Uh, Blind faith does not have the kind of strength and power that we need, yeah, to assimilate the teachings And not just assimilate the teachings, but to have longevity in the path. That means not to give up. Yeah, not to give up. Even when we might find some difficult situations in relationship to our guru. Yeah. And we may stumble upon some difficult situations, but if we have trust, not blind faith, if we have trust, we can overcome, yeah, any kind of rough patch or misunderstanding, yeah, in terms of relating to our guru, yeah. And there are very, very good reasons to hold our teachers in high regard. There's this very good reasons to have confidence, in their ability to guide us. Yes. And we have to remind ourselves, okay, what are those good reasons? Well, this person knows more than I do. This person has meditated more than I do. Yeah, this person has more experience, is read more teachings, has received more teachings. Their practice is deeper, no? So all of these are good reasons for us to really nurture and hold on to those when we find them, those amazing beings. Yeah. I'm gonna read two verses. These verses that we find in the scriptures are so inspiring. It's like the only way for me to um, uh, give justice to this topic is to really look at what's in the scriptures, because what's in the scriptures is just amazing. Yeah. So I'm going to read two verses, yeah, from two sutras. The first one is from the Sutra of the 10 Dharmas. And you can also find them in the Foundation of Buddhist Practice text. Yes, you can find them there. And then the other verse is from the Array of Stocks Sutra. Yeah, these passages of really offer an excellent example of how to reflect, how to contemplate our teachers' qualities and what they bring to our lives. Okay, so this one is the first one is from the 10 Teaching Sutra, and it says, I have wandered for a long time through cyclic existence, yeah? And you search for me. So the you here is referring to the teacher, the spiritual guide. You search for me. I have been asleep, having been obscured by delusion for a long time, and you wake me up. You pull me out of the depths of the ocean of existence. I have entered a bad path, and you reveal the good path to me. You release me from being bound in the prison of existence. Yeah? I have been worn out by illness for a long time, and you are my doctors. You are the rain clouds that put out my blazing fire of attachment and the like. Huh? Isn't that how wonderful that is? Huh? You can sit and just contemplate this verse over and over and over again to generate that kind of feeling towards our teacher. Yeah. And the next one says, mm, the teachers are those who protect me from all miserable rebirths, right? They cause me to know the equality of phenomena. They show me the paths that lead to happiness and those that lead to unhappiness. They instruct me in deeds always auspicious. They reveal to me the path to the city of omniscience. They cause me to enter the ocean of the sphere of reality. They show me the sea of past, present, and future phenomena. And they reveal to me the circle of the Arya's assembly. The teachers increase all my virtues. Remembering this, you will weep. There's so much devotion here, so much cherishing expressed here, and so much clarity about this relationship with the gurus. Okay. So now let's look at the meaning of the word guru. I've been using that, notice myself using that more and more in this particular session. So let's look at that. Yeah. It's a Sanskrit word, guru. Yeah. And it has two syllables, guru. Yeah. We hear all the time this word in prayers, teachings, etc. Yeah? So this word means heavy or weighty. Yeah, something heavy. Yeah, because a guru is someone who is heavy in good qualities, someone who is heavy in realizations. Yeah. So the first syllable, gu, denotes good qualities. Yeah. Another interpretation of this syllable gu is that it refers to hidden or secret. Yeah? And then the syllable ru means body or form. Yeah. So when we put all that together, the word guru means someone who has an extensive collection of good qualities which are hidden to the naked eye. Yeah. So you may not notice all the inner extensive qualities of your guru. You may not notice that because it may not be perceivable with our naked eye. But you will see and observe how those good qualities manifest in the guru's behavior, in how the guru teaches and relates to you and everybody else. You'll be able to see those exemplified by him or her. Yeah. Now, in Tibetan, the equivalent of guru is lama. Yeah, you also hear that all the time. Lama, my lama, lama this, lama that. So the syllable la means unsurpassable. Yeah, unsurpassable or sublime. Yeah, which refers to the method side of the path. And the syllable ma means mother. Yeah? And when we're talking about mother, in Buddhism, is often referring to the mother of all spiritual attainments, which is the wisdom realizing the ultimate nature. So a lama is a person who has developed the unsurpassable method, yeah, bodhicitta, compassion, and has unified that with the wisdom aspect of the path. So unified method and wisdom. So in our daily lives, in our daily lives, we have needs. We need sometimes to have access to different kinds of experts. Yeah. So, for example, if we have a problem with our teeth, we go see an expert in dental health. Yeah. If we have a problem with, one of our internal organs or one of our limbs or, some kind of a pain in our body, etc., we go to see an expert on physical health. Yeah. If we need something done to our house, some kind of a repair, let's say the roof, So then we go to someone who is an expert in roofing. Yeah. So in that same vein, yeah, the guru is an expert in taming the mind. Yeah. Because of their realization of bodhicitta, the method side of the path, they have developed that ability to tame the disciple's mind. Yeah. So not only does the guru have the ability to tame our minds, but they also have the ability to reveal our mind to us. And it's like, wait a minute, somebody else is going to reveal my mind? Well, yes, because we don't know our own minds. We don't know anything about our mind. Yeah. We don't know how to work with our mind. We don't know what's all in there. We don't know how to get rid of the bad stuff. We don't even know what the bad stuff is. Yeah. So they help us. They show us what the chaos in our mind is all about. And then they show us, okay, and this is how it could be. It's like this, messy now, but it could be like this. Like a Buddha's mind, you have that potential. They really show us that potential to become like a Buddha. Yeah. And so when they help us tame our minds, and they're doing that so that we can grow in wisdom and compassion. Yeah. And I don't know, have you ever had this experience where you're listening to your teacher uh, giving a talk, and then you have the sensation that this talk is directed right at you? Yeah. It's just like, because the guru is talking about everything that you're dealing with. Yeah, they're talking about everything that's going on in your mind and in your heart. And you're like, how does he know that? Well, that's the beauty of the relationship with the guru, that they can tell us these things. Yeah, they can really get cut through the chase and really touch upon those things that are most mm, at the center of our heart and mind. So another passage from the uh, Array of Stocks Sutra reflects this particular experience. Yeah. And so Sudana is the main character in this particular sutra, and he is a young spiritual seeker, right? And so he's writing in a very personal way about his experiences, yeah, with the teachers. And so I'm going to read that because, again, it's also really beautiful. And he says, I, Sudana, have come here thinking one pointedly, these are my teachers, instructors in the teachings, the ones who totally reveal the good qualities of all things and then fully teach the bodhisattva way of life. These bodhisattvas have caused my mind to develop. They have produced my awakening as a bodhisattva. Therefore, these, my teachers, are praised by the Buddhas. Yeah? With such virtuous thoughts, I have come here. As they protect the world, they are like heroes. They're captains, protectors, and refuge. They are an eye providing me with happiness, and with such thoughts, I respect and serve my teachers. Yeah. It's such a beautiful way to describe it. A very, very beautiful way to describe it. So the gurus give us much of their time, they give us their learning, they give us their experiences. And so it behooves us to learn to listen well to what they have to say. Yeah. In order to learn to listen well to what they have to say, we need to avoid what are called the three faults of the vase. Sometimes they're also called the three folds of the container or the vessel, right? So what are those? Yeah. So first we should avoid being like an upside down vase or an upside down container, because in such situations, nothing can enter that container. Nothing can enter that vase. It's totally closed up. There's no way, right? So when we are in that situation of being an upside down vase or vessel, we don't really listen to the teachings. We're distracted. We're somewhere else, not paying attention. Maybe we're thinking about the past, we're thinking about a problem of the present, maybe we're planning something we're going to do in the future. Yeah. So Pabonka Rinpoche says that if we are inattentive and distracted, we might as well not even be at the teaching at all, because we're not getting anything. And we're just like, the body is there, and the body is there, but nothing is going in. Yeah. There is, and if we're not paying attention, there's just no way that we can understand the teachings or bring them into our heart. Yeah. So when we are about to listen to a teaching, we can check our mind. Okay, where am I? I need to put aside everything that has been in my mind until then, and just focus. Pay very much attention to when our mind sort of wanders, because it will wander. We know that we'll get distracted, a million things. Yeah. But then we have to pay attention that we're not falling into these three faulty states of mind. And so the second one to avoid is being like a dirty vessel or a dirty vase, right? Dirty container. So in this particular situation, we probably have a bad motivation. Yeah, we did not bother to develop an altruistic and positive motivation, so we have a bad motivation from the get-go. Yeah, or we may just harbor prejudices. We may be under the sway of a prejudiced mind, and for that reason, we can't open our hearts to the teachings, or we have biases and wrong conceptions. Yeah. And so those keep our heart closed and our mind closed. Yeah. And whatever we hear, whatever teachings we're hearing, are going to be contaminated by either our bad motivation or our prejudices and our preconceived notions. Yeah. And we're going to walk away from that teaching with some kind of an idea or conception that we have fabricated ourselves as a result of this contamination in our mind. Yeah. Therefore, it's important to cleanse our mind from these false conceptions. Yeah. When we are about to listen to the teaching, we can look at as, okay, what are the wrong conceptions, and let's try to just push those aside so that I can really open my mind and my heart, and most of all, let me have a very good motivation, a very altruistic motivation. Let me really work on that. One of the teachers that I listened to, a very beautiful lama, one of the older generations of Tibetan teachers coming to the West, yeah, Geshe Tabke. I believe it was him who, in one of the teachings, said, if you rejoice, yeah, you're sitting there waiting for the teacher to come, instead of being distracted, thinking about this and that, just rejoice that you're there. Rejoice that you're going to have that opportunity. Rejoice that you're going to give these teachings. Yeah. And rejoicing really helps us, brings a lot of energy and focus to our mind. But at the same time, it helps us sort of dispel some of these problematic mental states. Yeah? So lastly, the other thing to avoid is we don't want to be like a leaky vessel, like a leaky container. Yeah, we want that will not remember anything because everything that's coming in is going out. Yeah, so it's like in one ear and out the other ear, right? Then if we have that kind of a mental state, we're not going to retain anything that the teacher has said. And if we have not retained anything, how are we going to practice it? How are we going to understand it? Right? So, some strategies that are going to help us avoid being like a leaky vessel, a leaky container, include you taking notes. It's okay to take notes, at least notes of the major points, the important points of the talk. Yeah. You can also, in addition to taking notes, you can uh, do some further reading and studying on that topic of the teaching. You can ask questions and you can talk with other students about that topic so that you can help each other. Yeah, you can help each other. And so the more that we talk and read about these topics and listen, the more that they will become ingrained in our mind. Yeah. There's also another attitude that goes along with this, and that is some people think that just listening to one topic, the teaching on one topic one time, that's going to do it. So, for example, oh, well, I already had a teaching on how to relate to the guru. I don't need to go to another teaching on that topic because I already heard that. Well, that's not the right thing to do. Yeah. In Buddhism, the more that you listen to the same topic, the more you're going to understand it. Yeah. Especially when you hear the same topic taught from different perspectives, from different teachers, then your understanding of that topic is going to be so much richer. Yeah, because each one of these perspectives that you gain from listening to these different teachers on the same topic, they're going to nourish your understanding. Yeah. So we want to listen to as many times as possible. Yeah. When you observe the teachings that His Holiness is giving, sometimes He's given, very advanced teaching, but sometimes He's giving very fundamental teachings. Yeah. And you notice that high lamas, a lot of high lamas go even to those teachings that are very fundamental. And those lamas know those topics like the palm of their hands, right? And they teach those topics. They teach them back and forth, right and left, up and down. They are so well versed. Yet they still go to listen to those topics. They still go. So let's hope that we never develop that attitude that, oh, I just heard it one time and that's enough. Because that's the fastest way to not get anywhere. Not get anywhere. So anyway, by making an effort to listen attentively with an open heart and mind and retain what we've heard, we can fully benefit and take to heart the teachings of the Guru. And we're kind of just on our last minutes here. So, but before we conclude, I wanna touch on these last few points because before we even think about looking for a spiritual mentor, a spiritual teacher, we need to kind of do our homework. Yeah, we need to develop some inner, let's call them prerequisites. Yeah, it's like when you are going to college yeah, and you're going to take, let's say, calculus or something, and you need to have some prerequisites. You have to have math, you have to have algebra, you have to have all these other things. You have to have working out before you can, get to that. And so, in order for us to um, be prepared for this kind of relationship, we need to do our homework. We need to do some inner development. And so, what do we need to be grounded on? We need to be grounded on recognizing our own suffering. Yeah. Because if we don't even recognize our own suffering, how are we going to work to um, eliminate that suffering if we don't even know that we're suffering? Yeah. So, and if we're in denial about our own suffering, yeah, we will not have the strength to enter the path or the compassion that wants to alleviate the suffering of others. Yeah. So that's the key. We need to recognize our own suffering, yeah, and have some desire to renounce that suffering, yeah. And we also need to have some idea of refuge, yeah, refuge in the three jewels, yeah. If we have not developed at least some initial amount of sincere refuge in the three jewels, yeah, we will we will only pay lip service to the teachings and not really bring them into our heart. Yeah, we will not have the stability in our practice or consistency in our effort because we're not taking them seriously. Yeah, we'll be like half of our mind will be in the three jewels, and then the other part of our mind would be in some other philosophy somewhere else. Yeah, we will not be fully committed. And we need to be fully committed to be able to traverse the path. We need to be fully committed, fully engaged. And we need to have some idea of what to practice and what to avoid. Yeah. So that we're not confused. We're not so confused and blind about what causes suffering and what causes happiness. Yeah. And lastly, we have to have at least a beginning understanding of bodhicitta, of this thought of wanting to attain full awakening to benefit others, right? We need to have at least some intellectual willingness to work for the benefit of others. We need some level of realization of the kindness of all sentient beings, and some preliminary desire to repay their kindness. Yeah. Okay. So let's mm, let's do some let's do some let's see something here, excuse me. Let's um some reflection. Okay, let's spend some minutes reflecting, yeah, on how we're doing in terms of those prerequisites, how we're doing in developing our own inner qualities, uh, so that we can be prepared to meet our teachers and have that relationship flourish. So let's take go back to our meditation pose, comfortable posture, straight back, some um, inward sort of attitude. Yeah. Let's take 3 deep breaths to sort of center ourselves. Yeah. And so I'm going to mention each one of these prerequisites, let's call them that. And then you can reflect, okay, how am I doing? How am I doing in generating some preliminary understanding of this topic. And we're not trying to guilt ourselves. We're not trying to judge ourselves. We're not trying to put ourselves down. We're just trying to see where we are so that we can see clearly, okay, I have a little more to go, and this is what I'm going to do. Yeah, to generate some kind of a clarity as to, okay, what's my next step to make sure that I get this homework done. Okay, that's it. Very gently with ourselves, very gently, very kindly with ourselves. Okay. So then let's talk about our understanding, our recognition of our own suffering. Okay, where are we in understanding and recognizing our own suffering? Yeah. So let's reflect on that for a moment. And let's check to see how are we doing in terms of generating refuge in the three jewels. How how deep, how strong is a refuge, and what might we do to strengthen that refuge? And let's check to see, mm, you know, how is our how clear is our knowledge of what to practice and what to avoid, and what could we do, to get a little bit more clarity about that. And then lastly, we can ask ourselves, what's my level of comfort with this idea of working for the benefit of others? Yeah. And how can I increase my comfort level with that thought, of really dedicating myself to the benefit of others? Yeah, how can I increase my desire to do that, my willingness to do that? Okay. Um, this concludes the presentation for today, but we have a few minutes if someone has a question or clarification is needed on something.
Jennifer, if you'd like to unmute.
Yeah, so I was wondering, what would it look like, to take refuge in the three jewels?
Right. That's a good question. So, there is a ceremony to take refuge. It's very nice and it can be very inspiring, right? But the real refuge happens in our heart. Yeah. And so what that looks like is, we don't go for refuge to any other place. Yeah, we have complete confidence in the teachings of the Buddha. We have complete confidence in the Dharma, to help us subdue our mind, to sort of be the medicine that we need to cure our suffering. That we have complete confidence in the Buddha as being like a doctor who's prescribing and giving us the medicine that we need, all the tools that we need to work with our mind, to pacify our mind, to help us get rid of all this suffering and to take us all the way to Buddhahood, right? So it's having that unassailable confidence, yeah, where we are not going to be pulled away by some other, something out there. We know that this is our path and we are dedicated. We're willing to put 100% of our effort and time, yeah, to get it, to work through it. But we're not going to give up, whenever obstacles come up. Our refuge is so solid. We're not going to give up. We're not going to feel daunted by the amount of work we're going to do in this life, in future lives. We're just going to be steady as it goes. And it could be that we're going slowly. We don't have to do it everything at once. We can take our time, but we're consistent and we're not giving up. Even when hard situations come up, even when we face big obstacles, right? For example, one example of incredible amount of refuge is what happened to the monastics in Tibet when China invaded, right? China, the Chinese government, the Chinese army basically imprisoned them, tortured them, wanting them to give up on their philosophy, on their refuge with the three jewels. And they would rather go through all that hardship than to give up on the three jewels. That's the kind of strong refuge that we're going to need to be able to follow this path to its conclusion of enlightenment, where nothing, no matter what, is going to take us away. Because we're convinced, it's not blind faith, but we are convinced, we have proven to ourselves that this path works. We have seen the changes in ourselves. We have gained realizations. And so nobody can tell us that it doesn't work because we have experienced the changes and the transformation in ourselves. So does that help?
Yes, that does. Thank you.
Okay. Any other? Cynthia?
Hi, Venerable. Thank you
Hi.
for your teaching. And sorry, I can't show my video, unstable internet. I have a question on like avoiding like things that might affect your practice or your path. I think is so. And would if you could maybe speak to this further, like I feel sometimes just from experience and observation that people do become more open-minded when we're exposed in general to other things outside of what we do. And I'm wondering, is it fully avoiding or just maybe being careful so that like just being mindful of other things as we're learning, or is it really fully avoiding other things or other spiritual teachings and such? And I'm not talking about other Buddhist lineages, but more like even understanding other spiritual paths, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. So when we take refuge in the three jewels, right? One of the requisites of that refuge is not going outside of the three jewels for spiritual advice, not seeking refuge anywhere else other than the three jewels. That's one of the when we talk about refuge, that's one of the sort of kind of some markers. It's one of our markers of our refuge, right? Because what happens is that especially in the beginning when we're brand new, if we start dabbling here and there and here and there, we get very confused. Yeah. And so sometimes there is this feeling of, oh, I can just take the best from here and the best from there and the best from there and just come up with some kind of something that is just going to work for me. Yeah. So we're thinking that we can do that. But this kind of something that can work for me is nothing that anybody has tested. Yeah. You cannot say for sure that this conglomeration of things that you borrow from this religion and that religion and that religion, that they're going to have any kind of beneficial effect together, because nobody has tested that. This is something that you came up with, right? And the question is, do we have the wisdom to know what to take from here and there and how to put it together so that we come up with something coherent and something that works? If we had that kind of wisdom, I think we would be enlightened. Yeah. So we don't have that kind of wisdom. So we have to follow a path that is tested. Yeah, because we know that there have been many masters throughout the history, since the Buddha attained enlightenment, who will also attain enlightenment, who've also attained the fruits of the path, practicing this path. So it's tested, it's verified, its efficacy is verified, right? So all we have to do is apply ourselves. Yeah. And we know we have the potential to become Buddhas. So we have to just develop that potential, because right now that potential is completely, undeveloped. And with the tools that the Buddha gave us, we have, the ability to develop that potential. So yes, we want to be careful, but the Buddha, His Holiness said, His Holiness says, maybe in the beginning, if you are not sure if the Buddhist path is right for you, in the beginning, you can go to different places to see where you land, right? I did that. I think many spiritual seekers go to a number of places to find out what resonates. It's not bad. Yeah. If you feel like you resonate more, let's say, with Hinduism, you can fully dedicate yourself to Hinduism. If that speaks to you, that's fine. As long as you dedicate yourself fully and seriously to that path, of course. Who can fault you for that? Or, if after you do your investigation, you say, I definitely want to be Christian and I want to dedicate myself fully and be a good Christian practitioner, that's excellent. Nobody can fault you for that. Yeah. But if you decide that Buddhism is what works for you, then again, just dedicate yourself fully and completely to that. Not just say, okay, I'm a Buddhist, but I'm going to dabble here and there and there. No, once you make a choice, regardless of where that choice is, just dedicate yourself fully to that. Yeah. With heart and mind. And that's where we get the best results. Yeah. Best results. Yeah, I hope I answer your question some way.
Yes,
Did
thank
that help?
you very much. That's very helpful. Thank you, Venerable.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we can dedicate. We have all this merit that we have accumulated. That let's rejoice that we have accumulated this merit. Let's rejoice that we've had this opportunity. It's a very virtuous thing to do, to try and figure out how we relate to our teachers in a positive and constructive way, not just for our benefit, but for the benefit of all sentient beings. So we have all this merit, and let's dedicate it. Okay. May whatever virtue I have collected benefit the teachings and all transmigratory beings, and in particular, may it cause the essence of perfect, pure Losandrapa's teachings to shine forever. May the precious Supreme Bodhicitta not yet born arise and grow. May that arisen not decline, but increase more and more. In the lands encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Shenrezi Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Peerless teacher, an assembly of the children of the victorious one, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Losang, father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, you wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and from other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss! Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. Okay, so thank you for being here. Please reflect on these points that we touched on tonight, and we will come back and do some more talking about this topic next Monday.